All right, Freddie. Now let's try it again. Repeat after me. La 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 la. Your turn.
Oh, okay. La 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 la.
Oh dear. At this rate, I'm not sure we'll ever be able to get your voice sorted out, Freddie.
Well, hey, Freddie. Hey, Leo. What's going on here?
Oh, Mr. Hedman, Leo was trying to help me find my best singing voice. I've been having an awful hard time with singing in music class lately. It's just not quite sounding right.
I see. So it kind of sounds like you've got a frog in your throat.
Oh, come
Sorry.
on, Mr. Hedman, that's
I know,
a low
I know.
blow and you know it.
Leo, have you tried giving him some of the tips and tricks that I taught you?
Well, I've tried every trick in the book, Mr. Hedman, but I still haven't figured out how to get Freddie to use his best singing voice.
And still none of them have worked, huh? Well, you know, Freddie, there is one more trick that we might try to get you to use that best singing voice. Maybe you're in a similar position as Freddie. Maybe you're having a hard time finding that best singing voice that we want to use when we're in music class. If that's the case, stick around. I'm going to teach you a little chant called Mountaintop Monster that is perfect for helping us to find that best singing voice. Let's get going. Welcome to music, everyone. Welcome to music, everyone. Hope you have a lot of fun. Hope you have a lot of fun. Now is the time to sing and play. Now is the time to sing and play. Hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great day. I'd like to open up our music class today with a chant called Mountaintop Monster. Now, in this chant, we're going to learn about two different monsters. One that is great big, and another that is teeny tiny. Now, I really love this chant because it's a great way to practice different voices that we use in music class. One type of voice, the great big voice, is very deep like that. Let's practice that great big voice all together. We're just going to say great big. All together now. Great big. Now the other type of voice is the teeny tiny voice. It's way up high like that. It's pretty soft as well. Let's practice that teeny tiny voice all together. All together, and here we go. Teeny tiny. We're going to do this chant called Mountaintop Monster. Now, every now and then, you're going to hear the narrator say, it was how big? And when we're talking about the great big monster, you're going to practice that great big voice and you're going to say, great big. On the flip side, when we're talking about the teeny tiny monster, you're going to practice using that teeny tiny voice. Teeny tiny, just like that. This is Mountaintop Monster.
On a mountaintop high above the sea sat a great big monster in a great big tree. It had great big ankles and great big knees and great big elbows and a great big sneeze. It was how big? Great big. It was how big? Great big. It had a great big nose and a great big chin and great big teeth and a great big grin. It was how big? Great big. It was how big? Great big. It had great big eyes and great big feet and a great big belly and it only liked to eat jelly this, jelly that all day. I love jelly, you could hear it say. I put jelly on my lettuce, jelly on my beans, jelly on my hair, and jelly on my jeans.
On a mountaintop high above the sea sat a teeny tiny monster in a teeny tiny tree. It had teeny tiny ankles and teeny tiny knees and teeny and a teeny tiny sneeze. It was how tiny? Teeny tiny. It was how tiny? Teeny tiny. It had teeny tiny nose and teeny tiny chin and teeny tiny teeth and a teeny tiny grin. It was how tiny? Teeny tiny. It was how tiny? Teeny tiny. It had teeny tiny eyes and teeny tiny feet and a teeny tiny belly and it only liked to eat. Jelly this, jelly that all day. I love jelly, you could hear it say. I put jelly on my lettuce, jelly on my beans, jelly on my hair, and jelly on my jeans. Jelly this, jelly that all day. Jelly, 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 jam. Oh, jelly this, jelly that all day. Jelly, 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 jam. Oh, jelly this, jelly that all day. Jelly, 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 jam. Oh, jelly this, jelly that all day.
Excellent job using those two different types of voices, our great big voice and our teeny tiny voice. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about when we should use each type of voice. Let's start with that great big voice. What I want you to do is I want you to take one hand, I want you to place it on your chest, and I want you to say, great big, great big. What did you notice happened to your chest? What did you feel when you said great big, using that great big voice? If you did it correctly, you should have felt your chest vibrate or shake a little bit. We call our great big voice our chest voice. Now, this is the voice that we actually use very often in school. It's also the same as our speaking voice. In fact, if you just talk normally, you could feel your chest vibrating. You're using your chest voice. On the flip side, we have that teeny tiny voice. We're going to do the same thing. Take one hand, place it on your chest, and now you're going to say, tiny, teeny tiny. What did you notice happened to your chest when you used your teeny tiny voice? If you were using that teeny tiny voice correctly, you should have felt your chest completely still. You shouldn't really have felt anything at all. That teeny tiny voice we call the head voice. And believe it or not, that's actually the type of voice that we need to use when we sing more often than not. Now, I know for many of you, you're thinking, Mr. Hedman, that sounds ridiculous. You mean we're supposed to sing like this all the time? I know, it sounds pretty ridiculous when you talk like this using that teeny tiny voice. You probably sound a little bit like Mickey Mouse. But if we sing using that teeny tiny voice, it actually sounds pretty natural. Why do you think we should use the teeny tiny voice when we sing rather than the great big voice? Any ideas why we should use the teeny tiny voice? It's actually an important part of our vocal health. Your vocal cords, what is inside your body that allows you to sing and talk, can be damaged if they're used incorrectly. For example, if you shout way too much or you yell too much, you might discover that all of a sudden you can't speak anymore. You can't say anything at all. Nothing comes out. That's because you've damaged your vocal cords. It's important, even at your age, that we practice good vocal health, that we're protecting our voices. So we always want to make sure we're practicing that teeny tiny voice. And the best way to remind yourself to use that teeny tiny voice is just, again, to put that hand on your chest and make sure that when you're singing, you can't feel that chest vibrate very much. It shouldn't vibrate if we're using that head voice, the teeny tiny voice. With that being said, let's move on to our next music activity. Since we just learned about using that teeny tiny voice when we sing, I thought who better to help us practice using that teeny tiny voice than my good friend Lulu. Lulu, how you doing today? Lulu. She's doing pretty well. Let's practice using that teeny tiny voice. We're checking to make sure that the chest is not vibrating when we sing. Let's do a little echo singing. Lulu sings first, and you will echo after her. Lulu, take it away. How did you do? Were you able to sing all of Lulu's patterns without that chest vibrating? If you did, excellent. And if not, it's okay. It takes time to develop that teeny tiny voice, that head voice, to get it just right. But we want to always continue to practice on that teeny tiny voice in order to help keep our vocal cords healthy and safe. Now, Lulu is not quite done with us just yet. She wants to play that game that she loves to play. She's going to sing a song that you might know. It's a common children's song. If you know the answer, I want you to say it out loud. You can tell it to someone at home. Maybe your parents are at home, or maybe a brother or sister. Maybe you've got a pet at home. And if you don't have even a pet at home to tell it to, why don't you tell one of your stuffed animals? See if you can tell me what song Lulu is singing. Here's the first one. Lulu, 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 Lulu. I'll give you a second to think. What song was it that Lulu just sang? Any ideas? If you're still trying to figure it out, here's a hint. This song actually has to do with something that you might see around the school. In fact, it's actually a way that some kids get to school, a way that they travel to school. Any ideas what it could be about? The wheels on the limo go round and round. No, that's not right. We don't take a limo to school, so what is it? A school bus. The wheels on the bus go round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels on the bus go round and round, all through the town. Well, were you able to figure it out on your own? Good to hear. Here comes the second one. Just like with the last one, feel free to share with someone around you if you think you know what song this is. Lulu, 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 Lulu. Have you heard that song before? Oh, I know, it's at the tip of your tongue. You know it. You just need some sort of hint, maybe. This is a song that kids sing, and there's some actions that go around with it. You usually sing this song while standing in a circle, and you actually spin around in a circle as you sing the song, and at the very end, you drop to the floor. Any ideas what song that is? Did you say Ring Around the Rosie? If you did, you are correct. You got it right. Let's sing it together. Ring around the rosy, a pocket full of posy. Ashes, ashes, we all fall down. Nicely done figuring out that one. Lulu has one more song for you to figure out. See if you know this song. Lulu, 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 Lulu. Take a moment to think about it. Lulu, do you think they know? Oh, she's feeling pretty confident that you know this song. If you're still having a hard time figuring it out, here's your hint. This song also has a game that goes along with it. Now, usually to play this game, you have two people who hold their arms up like this, and they're actually holding each other's hands. And they make this arch. And as we sing this song, other kids walk through the arch. And at the very end, the people who are making the arch with their hands drop it down to trap someone inside. Do you know what song that is that we sing with that game? You might have heard a song called London Bridge is Falling Down. If you know that song, it goes a little bit like this. London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady. Well, were you able to figure it out on your own? If you did, fantastic job, phenomenal, excellent. That was a very good job. Let's move on to our next activity. arms up high, reach for the sky. Let's sing and move along to the silly, silly ram-sam song. A ram-sam-sam, a ram-sam-sam, gooly, 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 ram-sam-sam. A ram-sam-sam, a ram-sam-sam, gooly, 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 ram-sam-sam. A Robbie, gooly, 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 ram-sam-sam. A Robbie, gooly, 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 ram-sam-sam. Arms up high, reach for the sky. If you wanna be a ram-sam master, you've got to go a little faster. A ram-sam-sam, a ram-sam-sam, gooly, 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 ram-sam-sam. A ram-sam-sam, a ram-sam-sam, gooly, 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 ram-sam-sam. A Robbie, gooly, 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 ram-sam-sam. A Robbie, gooly, 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 ram-sam-sam. Arms up high, reach for the sky. If you wanna be a ram-sam master, you've got to go a little faster. A ram-sam-sam, a ram-sam-sam, gooly, 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 ram-sam-sam. Ram-sam-sam, a ram-sam-sam, gooly, 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 ram-sam-sam. A Robbie, gooly, 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 ram-sam-sam. A Robbie, gooly, 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 ram-sam-sam. Arms up high, reach for the sky. If you wanna be a ram-sam master, you've got to go a little faster. A ram-sam-sam, a ram-sam-sam, gooly, 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 ram-sam-sam. A ram-sam-sam, ram-sam-sam, gooly, 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 ram-sam-sam. A Robbie, gooly, 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 ram-sam-sam. A Robbie, gooly, 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 ram-sam-sam. Arms up high, reach for the sky. If you wanna be a ram-sam master, you've got to go a little faster. A ram-sam-sam, a ram-sam-sam, gooly, 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 ram-sam-sam. A ram-sam-sam, a ram-sam-sam, gooly, 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 ram-sam-sam. A Robbie, gooly, 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 ram-sam-sam. A Robbie, gooly, 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 ram-sam-sam. Arms up high, reach for the sky. If you wanna be a ram-sam master, you've got to go a little faster. A ram-sam-sam, a ram-sam-sam, gooly, 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 ram-sam-sam. A ram-sam-sam, a ram-sam-sam, gooly, 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 gooly. A Robbie, arms up high, reach for the sky. If you wanna be a ram-sam master, you got to go a little faster. A ram-sam-sam, a ram-sam-sam, gooly, 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 ram-sam-sam. A ram-sam-sam, a ram-sam-sam, gooly, gooly, gooly. A Robbie, gooly, 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 ram-sam-sam. A Robbie, gooly, 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 ram-sam-sam. Arms up high, reach for the sky. And you're a ram-sam master, you're a ram-sam master. I'm going to teach you a very simple song called Snail, Snail. Now, despite how simple this song is, there's actually a whole lot that we can learn just through this song alone. Are you ready? I'm going to sing it first, and then I will teach you how to sing it as well. Snail, Snail sounds a little bit like this. Snail, 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 go around and round and round. Snail, 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 go around and round and round. Snail, 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 go around and round and round. Is that simple or what? What did you notice about the words? Did I change it every single time, or was it the same thing, just repeated over and over again? If you were listening closely, you would have noticed that it repeated over and over again. It's a very simple song. You just repeat it, and you don't have to just repeat it 3 times like I did. You can repeat it as much as you want. What did you see me do with my hand as I was singing? Watch one more time. Snail, 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 go around and round and round. What did you notice about my hands? I was showing the highs and lows, the pitches, the melody of the song. When my voice got higher, my hand went higher, and when my voice went lower, my hand went lower. I'm going to teach you how to sing the song. I sing first, you echo after me. My turn, your turn. Snail, 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 snail. Go around and round and round. Go around and round and round. Snail, 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 snail. Snail, 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 snail. Go around and round and round. Go around and round and round. Let's try singing the song all together. And for an extra challenge, you don't have to do this, but if you want an extra challenge, see if you can show the highs and the lows of the song, matching the melody of our voices. And here we go. Snail, 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 snail. Go around and round and round. Snail, 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 snail. Go around and round and round. Snail, 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 snail. Go around and round and round. Thank you so much. Excellent job showing those highs and lows as we sang Snail, Snail together. Now, the next thing I want to do with the song is I want to keep a steady beat. Now, I'm going to tap on my shoulders because it's easier for you to see, but if you want to pat your legs instead, that works just fine. We're going to keep a steady beat along with the song. Now, we're only going to sing it one time. And the reason why is because I want you to count the number of beats in the song. Count how many times I tap my shoulder from the beginning of the song to the end. Remember, we're only singing it one time. And here we go. Snail, 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 snail. Go around and round and round. Did you count how many beats there were? Were you paying attention? Try it one more time. Count how many times I tap my shoulder. And here we go. Snail, 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 snail. Go around and round and round. How many beats did you count from the beginning to the end? If you were counting very carefully, you should have counted 8 beats altogether from beginning to end. 8 beats. Press save in your brain on that because that number 8 is going to be very important for what we're going to do next. Let's move on. I want to practice keeping the steady beat to snail, snail, but I want to change the way that we do it. And you actually are going to need a little bit of Play-Doh. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have some Play-Doh lying around home. You should have a container somewhere. So if you've got some Play-Doh, go ahead and grab a container. If you don't happen to have Play-Doh at home, maybe you have something that could take its place. Maybe you've got some modeling clay. Maybe you've got a little bit of silly putty. Those things could work as well. We're going to use Play-Doh to show the steady beat of snail, snail. And here's how. We're going to start by taking a good chunk of our Play-Doh. We want to use not quite the entire container, but a good portion of the container. And once you've got a good chunk of your Play-Doh, I want you to start rolling it out. We want to make it into a very long and very thin kind of snake out of our Play-Doh. So go ahead and start rolling that Play-Doh out. Again, you want it to be a very, very long strip of Play-Doh. Also needs to be pretty thin. How's yours looking? Mine's looking pretty good, but I think it needs to be a little bit longer. That's a little better. There, that should work. Here's what mine looks like. Now, once you've got a nice long snake, we're going to transform our snake into what I call a spiral path. I'm going to start with one end of my snake here, and I'm going to wind it around into the middle until it looks a little bit like this. This is what I call my spiral path. Our next step, we need to create some stones for our spiral path. You need to take small pieces of Play-Doh and flatten them into little tiny pancakes like this. Now, these stones are going to represent the steady beat of snail, snail. How many beats were in the song if we sang it one time? Right, we need 8 stones to represent the 8 beats. So I'm going to place my first stone at the very beginning of my spiral path on the outside here. And I'm going to create some more, and I'm going to work my way in towards the center. So there's my second one. And again, you don't need a lot of Play-Doh for these stones, just a little bit. There's my third. Let's see. That's good. We'll have number 4 there. Halfway there, we need 4 more. And don't be afraid if your stones are not perfectly round. Mine certainly are not perfectly round. There's 5. Here's number 6. 2 more, number 7. And my last one. My last stone, I want to place right in the center, at the very end of my spiral path. Just like that. So here's what my path looks like now. There's one more thing we need to make. We need to make a snail. After all, our song is about a snail, so let's go ahead and make a snail. You need another small glob of your Play-Doh. And much like what we did with the spiral path, you're gonna roll it out. You're gonna make a little tiny snake. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty good. That'll work. And once you've got this little tiny snake, you can wind one end around to form the shell. And now you've got your own little tiny snail. Now your snail might actually look a little bit better than mine. I am not an artist by any means. I do the best I can. Sorry, I'm not Mr. Morgan. Now we're going to take our snail and we're going to show the steady beat to Snail, Snail as we sing the song. The snail is going to bounce on the stones to the steady beat. It's going to look like this. Snail, 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 go around and round and round. Notice that I started on my first stone and then I ended on my center stone. You need to aim for the same thing. Let's try it together. And here we go. Snail, 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 go around and round and round. This time we're going to start in the center stone and we're going to work our way back to the outside. And here we go. Snail, 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 go around and round and round. Nicely done. Let's try singing it 3 times in a row. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky. We start on the outside stone, our first stone. We work our way to the middle. The second time we sing the song, we're going to start in that center stone. We're going to bounce on it again and then work our way back to the outside. And then the third time through, bounce on that first stone again and work our way back in the middle. Let's see if we end up on the same stone by the end. 3 times in a row. And here we go. Snail, 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 go around and round and round. Snail, 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 go around and round and round. Snail, 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 go around and round and round. How'd you do? What stone did you end on? I ended up on my center stone, the one at the very end in the middle of my spiral path. Now, we can still practice the steady beat in other ways. We can change the speed or the tempo of the music. Right now, we've been kind of going at a medium, moderato tempo, but let's try speeding it up, making it a little bit faster, allegro, starting on our first stone, the outside stone. And here we go, snail, 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 go around and round and round. Snail, 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 go around and round and round. We could always slow it down a little bit. Let's try Adagio, a little slow. And here we go. Snail, 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 go around and round and round. Snail, 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 go around and round and round. We could go very, very fast. Presto. Let's try it. And here we go. Snail, 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 go around and round and round. Snail, 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 go around and round and round. If we wanted to, we could also slow it way, way down. Largo. Let's give it a try. And here we go. Snail, 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 go around and round and round. just about put me to sleep with how slow we were going there. So I hope you have fun playing around with Snail, and the different ways that we can keep a steady beat, the different tempo, the different speeds that we can keep the steady beat. Let's move on. Now, before we move on, I should say this is not the end of Snail. There's actually a lot more that we will learn about Snail and the music that goes with Snail, but we will save that for another day. Until then, let's move on. Adios, it's time to go. Sing up high, sing down low. Sing real soft and sing real strong. Adios, our goodbye song. Adios, amigos. I'll see you all next week for another fun music class. Adios to you. Adios, amigos.
Okay, Freddie. Now let's have one last go at using our best singing voice. Remember to think about our teeny tiny voice when we sing. Let's try it again. La 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 la. Okay, here goes nothing. La 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 la. Did you hear that? I did it. I used my teeny tiny voice and had the best singing voice I could. Way to go, Freddie. I knew you could do it. Now you've got that best singing voice.
Freddie, that sounded amazing. Excellent job using that teeny tiny voice when we were singing. And Leo, thank you so much for your help today and being such an encouraging friend to Freddie. Everybody needs a friend like that. I hope you enjoyed our music class today, and I hope you had fun learning how to use our singing voices, especially that teeny tiny voice that helps protect our vocal cords. Until next time, I will see you all later.
On a mountaintop high above the sea sat a great big monster in a great big tree. It had great big ankles and great big knees and great big elbows and a great big sneeze. It was how big?